Hello, everybody, and welcome to Unanswered Questions. Sometimes during our live student broadcast, we just don't get enough time to answer all the questions, so we're now going to answer all the questions from January we didn't get time to get to.
Let's get her.
Woo! Getting into our first question, are parents allowed to have a monitoring app on your phone to see what you are always doing?
So a couple of things on that. If the parent has bought the phone and they're paying for the data on the phone, then they actually legally own the phone. They're just gifting it to you to use they're basically borrowing it. So are they allowed to do that? They sure are. Legally, are they allowed to do it? Yes, they are.
What defines a nude? Does it have to be a fully naked photo?
Why don't you take that one?
Yeah, I mean, oftentimes when we discuss intimate naked nude images, we are talking about fully nude images. There are some people who interpret semi-nudes, but when it comes to leaked images that only involve bathing suits or underwear images, it gets kind of gray and kind of confusing. Normally, when we talk about nude, it's fully nude.
Correct. And not every part. Like it could just be one, like a good example. If it shows the nipple or the areola or the anus or the scrotum or the vagina, right? It doesn't have to be all of them. It could be any part of those. Those are considered nudes.
Yeah, we use like the legal definition of genitalia showing.
Correct.
Is how we define using that word.
Yeah.
What do people do with our nudes who lie for them?
Well, a lot of times what they're doing is they're using it for the purpose of extortion, or what we call sextortion, in order to get money from you. Now, in some cases, they'll take them, especially if it's of a teen under the age of 18. They may try to sell them or trade them as child sexual abuse material.
Can I report someone to the police if they tell me to hurt myself?
Yeah, in Canada, I can specifically speak to Canada. In Canada, it is illegal to basically say to somebody, why don't you go kill yourself? Why don't you go die? Why don't you go hang yourself? It's called counseling suicide in Canada, and therefore is illegal. So you could report it to law enforcement. If you're from the U.S., you would have to check with your state. Each state is going to be a little different.
Is it legal to go onto Discord or Snapchat and purposely bait somebody into giving you things like money and Discord Nitro?
Go for it, dude.
Well, if there's false pretenses, then yes, you're looking possibly at fraud. It does get kind of, if someone's not lying and they're just asking you for that, well, then you're just asking you. But if they're lying as a pretense, then you're looking at fraud.
Yep.
Are there counseling services offered instead of getting students who make bad decisions involved with the criminal justice system?
Yeah, it's called restorative justice, or RJ. It's becoming very popular right across Canada. When I was in law enforcement, often when we were dealing with teens, we would decide to go to the restorative justice route rather than criminal justice route. Are there times we're going the criminal justice route is better? Yes, but in a lot of cases going restorative justice is much, much better.
How do I stop people from tracking me on the internet for free?
Go for it.
Ooh, for free? That's going to be difficult.
Yeah.
Most privacy tools to kind of replace what you use already for free, a lot of free tools track you. That's why they're free.
Right.
So to use paid for tools that offer more privacy is kind of the way to go. Yes, there are free VPNs, Incognito, and et cetera, and Tor. The best strategy is to not purposefully share personal private things on the internet anywhere.
Right.
That's going to be your best strategy.
I agree.
Is it illegal to record voice calls?
I'll take that one.
Depends where you live.
That's right. In Canada, all you need is one party consent. So the person who's recording it, then he's allowed or she's allowed to do that. In the United States, depending upon the state that you live, it could be different. In some states, you need two-party consent. In some places, you just need one party. But right across Canada, all is needed is one party consent. So the person who's recording has the right to do that.
Yeah.
But it could differ from state to state in the U.S.
Even you yourself can consent to recording your own
Correct.
phone call.
Yeah, for sure.
Interesting how that works, though, but that's just how it works.
Yeah.
Check your local area, though. Some places have eavesdropping laws that require extra consent.
In the United States.
Yeah.
Not so much in Canada.
Can someone Photoshop a photo of someone's face onto someone else's body if they are not naked?
Interesting. It depends upon what they're doing with it. Like if they're photoshopping it onto the picture of another person's body and then using it for the purposes of attacking one's credibility, then yes, that would fall under a specific section under the criminal code in Canada. Again, it's going to be specific to context and how it was being used.
Yeah, exactly.
It's called defamatory libel, right?
Yeah, but if you're just doing it, if you copy someone's face and put it onto, I don't know, Big Bird.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It depends.
It depends. Are you using it in a horrible, evil, ugly way?
That's
to
right.
embarrass, to harass, to, it depends.
That would be defamatory libel,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Is catfishing illegal?
It depends, right? Like,
I mean,
it depends.
What is the outcome of the cat? If
Exactly.
the outcome is to scam or harass, then yeah, you're kind of going. But if people can lie on the internet,
That's right.
There's nothing wrong with someone lying to you on the internet. So,
But if they're using it for a criminal purpose, then it's illegal, right?
Yeah. What if someone puts a picture of you and edits mean text onto it?
I guess, it would depend upon what they're doing with it. It could fall under defamatory libel in Canada under the criminal code.
Harassment,
criminal harassment, intimidation. There's a whole variety. Again, it's going to be context specific, right?
If I have a photo edited of someone on a celebrity, but it's not a nude, would that be illegal?
Again, context is everything, right? It's how you're using that picture that would make it legal or illegal.
A relationship with someone 3 years older is illegal in high school, ?
It depends. In Canada, in order to give consent sexually, the age is 16, right? However, in Canada, we also have these laws that apply to specific age differences. So if you're under the age of 18, and between the ages of 13 to 18, they have some in-line age exceptions that make it legal or illegal. It changes based upon your age. And one of the best things to do is we offer a resource on our website that shows via a graph what those ages are.
Yeah, the RCMP have a nice graph as well that kind of does that.
Yeah, for sure.
I think it's called the close in age approximation.
Yeah, close in exception.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. It varies.
Yeah.
Can sexting be talking consensually with your partner, talking about wanting to have sex or sexually flirting?
Yeah.
There's a lot of the word sexting, right? I mean, it's what does the word mean? There's some people who mean it as only naked nude photos. Some people mean it as only semi-nude photos. Some people define it as just talking sexually via text only with no photos being shared.
Yeah. So again, when it comes to the non-consensual distribution of intimate images, that's specific to images, not to texting.
Yeah.
However, texting can be considered sexting to a degree, and depending upon the age, can sometimes make it legal or illegal, even if it's text-based, right?
Yeah. The word sexting is so complex and large.
Don't get them going.
It doesn't have any
You got 'em
strong,
going. That
meaning.
question got them going.
People are very confused about that word. What is human trafficking?
Yeah, human trafficking is basically where it's a person or an entity or a group is basically taking somebody against their will and financially profiting off of it for a whole variety of different reasons. That's basically what it is.
What if I receive a nude without consent?
Illegal in most cases, again, depending upon context. But if somebody sends you an unsolicited nude online, it's a violation under the criminal code.
Do you think that having youth near our age do programs about safety topics?
Yeah, I think at any age, it's always important to talk about these issues. And, one of the things that we're finding is education is working, right? It definitely is. And as teens start to age and mature, we kind of change the talks or the discussions, not so much on safety and security, more on issues surrounding privacy issues, right? And that kind of stuff. But yeah, I think it's always important to talk about these things and continually stay updated. One of the challenges we find is that sometimes these programs that are being taught are so dated that they have no relevancy to teens who are watching them, right? So that's why we always stay very current in what it is that we do.
I think this question, I saw kind of the context around it was, instead of having like us teach young people about safety, have young people teach each other.
Yeah,
and I think there's definitely value there, but I think there's also some limitations. In regards to the expertise and the experiences and the actual education that's used.
Yeah,
I mean, obviously we're licensed online investigators as an organization, and not every young person who could teach that because there's extra criteria for that.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
There's definitely power there.
Yeah.
What about leaked OnlyFans?
Yeah, we've actually helped a couple of teens where that has in fact happened, where somebody leaked nudes or intimate images from OnlyFans accounts and made them public. Again, in most circumstances, if they leak them and make them public, that would be the non-consensual distribution of an intimate image, which makes it illegal in Canada. Doesn't matter if you're over or under the age of 18.
What is the best way to report bad or illegal things that you know are happening? Well, if it's bad things and it has to do with somebody that you go to school with, then, inform the leadership, administration at your school. If it's something illegal, that's why there's law enforcement who have the job to ensure that people obey the law, make sure people don't, break the law against you. So if it's bad stuff, to your school, probably in that area.
Yeah, kind of like an incremental approach, right? Go to your teacher, go to your counselor, go to your vice, go to your principal, go to a school resource officer, and let your parents know.
Yeah, if it's just bad, then, but if it's something illegal, then you kind of might probably want to jump it up a little bit further.
For sure.
Do police have enough resources to deal with problems when teens come forward?
I think it depends upon the organization, how big they are, how small they are. Do police have enough resources to deal with everything that's going on with digital world? No, they don't. They need more training. They need more resources. But depending upon the agency, like smaller RCMP detachments, they may not have those resources where maybe a larger police department like the Vancouver Victoria Police Department do.
Yeah, we're talking about globally here in North America, probably not as much. I mean, it also depends on what the issue is.
That's right.
If you're talking about exploitation, then definitely that stuff's dealt with quite
Pretty
effectively and quickly. But if it's simply, I don't want to say minor illegal infractions, but there are things.
Like it or not, because of the call loads that most police departments have, they have to rank them in priority, right? And so depending upon the type of digital abuse that has taken place, it may be on a lower priority maybe than, like you say, if it's with regards to sexual exploitation online, which is maybe a level 1, or maybe if it's somebody who's just doing, maybe a little bit of doxing, nothing major, that would maybe be a priority 4 lower.
And even then, those are usually second to actual in-progress physical crime.
Correct.
That has a, more serious risk attached to it.
Sometimes.
Well, I guess sometimes, not always.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Not always. That's fair
but
enough.
You're right. I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right. Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. That's from your experience.
Yeah.
What happens if you do something illegal and you're under the age of 12?
Yeah, in Canada, in order to be held criminally liable, you have to reach the age of 12. If you're under the age of 12, police can still take you into their custody, but they need to immediately turn you either over to a parent or a government agency at that point in time. But you can't be arrested, charged, or convicted if you're under the age of 13.
How now, if families or parents are being neglectful in what they're doing, they could face some challenges.
Who? The police?
The parents.
The parents could, yeah. But if it's a parent issue and police don't believe we can turn them back over to the parents, then we'll give them to a social services agency with the government. Yeah.
What do I do if someone lies about their age and asks for nudes?
Not a lot you can do about that, right? But if it comes to legality issues, then getting a screen capture of them saying that they were 16 when in fact they're 33, just capturing that as evidence would help.
And then reporting it.
Like,
hey, this person lied to me. Yeah. Are most people who sent nudes being pressured into doing so?
Sometimes yes, sometimes no. I mean, like we've met teens where the intimate images that were sent consensually amongst one another, right? But there's been some teen relationships we've been into where one of the partners was pressured to send a nude. Or when it comes to sextortion, it is pressure, right? So again, it depends. Or blackmailed. So again, it comes down to context, but sometimes yes, sometimes no.
Why is it illegal to send nudes? Well, I mean, it depends on your age, where you live.
That's right.
It gets very complicated.
Right.
I guess, for a lot of people, intimate naked nude imagery is very sensitive. It's a very personal experience. So that's why there's a lot of protections legally around naked nude images.
Especially for those under the age of 18.
Most
right?
definitely, which then falls into child pornography.
Correct. Or child sexual abuse material.
Right.
Right. We're kind of changing. One of the things I want to say is that the child pornography is the legal term under the criminal code, right? So when we're talking about it from a criminal perspective in the courts, it's known as child pornography. Outside of the courts, we're kind of changing the vernacular a little bit, and we're calling it child sexual abuse material because that's what it is. Right? Yeah.
Because not all abuse material is pornographic.
Correct.
So, yeah. If everything is saved to servers, then are we actually actually anonymous when asking these questions. So these questions, which are submitted, semi-anonymously to schools when students are asking us questions live, we don't ask for the names or emails. Now, of course, when you connect to any online platform, it's collecting things like IP addresses, it's putting cookies on your system. So although we can't identify you immediately by your name and such like that, there's still information being tracked about you.
Correct.
That's just the internet. I got scammed one time. How do I avoid this happening?
Learn from your mistakes.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's what life is all about is, we're all going to I still make mistakes today.
What did you do?
I know.
What did you do?
Not today. I'm just saying I still make mistakes today as a boomer, right?
Okay, gotcha.
That's what I do. And we're constantly learning from our mistakes. So, and these scammers are good at what they do, right?
Yeah.
So understanding what the scams are, number one, so that you don't fall victim. But if you do fall victim, learn from that and don't do it again.
I think most people fall for scams because they're acting a little too quickly.
Yeah.
I think it was one of the biggest mistakes. So maybe, learning from that mistake is maybe taking some extra steps to verify what you're clicking on, downloading, and entering.
Yeah, fair enough.
I think slowing down might be your best solution.
Yeah, for sure.
Because normally then you detect those scamminess parts of scams.
Sure. For sure.
Do you, as a protective service, see nudes you have to recover? What are the policies in that?
Yeah, no, when we're working with teens on this issue or parents, we don't ask to see them. What we do is we ask them specific questions to make sure that they are truly nudes and not maybe genitalia that is covered by underwear or bras or anything like that. And then what we do is once we make that assumption, or once we make that decision that in fact it was a nude, then we immediately have them reported to the police, because the police have the access, or they have the ability to have a look at they have the protection, right?
Yeah.
So no, we don't look at the nudes and we don't ask to see the nudes.
No, we more so function as guidance.
Guidance.
What's the situation? What's involved? What's actually going on? And then giving them the best paths to go down.
Correct. And there's also times where we help to guide them with law enforcement, because like it or not, we've helped on several cases where sometimes law enforcement shouldn't be doing what it is that they should be doing to deal with these issues. So because of our vast background, especially mine in law enforcement, we kind of become like a proxy to the teen and to the family to help them kind of navigate that process.
Yeah, a lot of people have an opinion that law enforcement knows everything. Or they know every law or every investigative procedure. I mean, no single person can know everything. No. So we sometimes.
Can you just repeat that again? I'm thinking about you. Can you just repeat what you just said?
What? I don't know everything.
I'm just joking.
I fully admit that. I know a lot of stuff.
Yeah, you do.
But not everything.
Yeah, you do.
Can I send questions to you via Instagram direct messaging?
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
We get that all the time. Now, we have thousands and thousands of teens that follow us on our social media like Instagram, and that's where they primarily connect with us to ask us questions.
Can I still report it even though they've deleted the evidence?
Yeah, because sometimes, although it may be deleted off of their device, it may still be on the server in which they use to send whatever it is that they sent you.
Or there's records of the communication. Maybe
Correct.
Not the image or video in question, but there's a record of something happening.
Right. There's always a digital trail, right?
In
most cases.
Which is one of the benefits of technology.
Yeah.
20 years ago, if you want to do something bad, be face to face.
Yes.
It's your word against my word.
Yeah, unless there was a witness, right?
Unless there's a witness. Yeah. But now the witness is digital tracking code and AI, which is incredibly powerful.
It is. And it's amazing how technology is kind of that two-edged sword, right? But yeah, even if they deleted it, there still may be digital remnants, digital breadcrumbs there that can be recovered and used for the purposes of a conviction.
Mm-hmm. Big question. Is there anything I can do if someone posts a nude of me online and they live somewhere else that isn't in Canada or the United States?
Yeah, we've helped a number of families deal with that issue where these people were from other countries, right? So depending upon the country they're from, if they're from a NATO-friendly type country, then law enforcement through Interpol reacts very, very quickly, right? However, if they come from countries like Somalia, Nigeria, the Ivory Coast, the likelihood of police getting involved to get the picture images down is going to decrease dramatically. Now, I can say that the Ivory Coast law enforcement have been working a little bit closer with North American law enforcement, but some of the other countries, not so much.
Yeah.
Not so much.
But a lot of online servers and networks, they do respect, there are law enforcement programs that are actively working to remove such images.
Yeah, for sure.
So although you might not be able to unfortunately have someone held accountable,
We can get it taken down.
we can, yeah,
In most
we
cases.
can get into a system where things are taken
Yeah,
down.
for sure. In most cases, not all. But
Not
in
all.
most, yeah.
Ooh, big question. Say you're in a private consenting relationship and in possession of nudes. One day your partner switches up to accuse you of not deleting their nudes, even though that they have not stated clearly and you were not aware. What happens?
Yeah, great question. That all comes down to the police conducting the appropriate investigation, right? And a lot of times after police conduct the appropriate investigation, they will be able to figure out what's going on, because it always comes down to a he said, she said, she said, she said, he said, right? It's and the truth usually lies somewhere in the middle. But one of the things that we also do is we also encourage, we have what's called a digital consensual image takedown form, where we provide it to teens to use, that if somebody has a nude and you're in a relationship, want to take it out, serve them a document, take a picture of it, so you have the evidentiary to prove it, right?
Can I get in trouble for running a school T page, even though the things that are being said is rude, but I'm not the one actually saying it?
Yeah, you could be violating school policy. Remember, as the owner of the T site, ultimately you're responsible for the content of it.
Yeah, even though there's a Section 230 from government standards, there's there's still policy standards that can.
Yeah,
in
230
school.
is the safe harbors where social media people can't be held accountable.
Yeah,
right?
but you can be held accountable for what you do on the
Correct.
network.
And also, I find that a lot of these T sites are using, say, a school's emblem, which is a breach of copyright, right? So it can be taken down under that way as well. But the answer is yes. If you've created a T site and you're allowing people to say rude, mean, disturbing things on there, then ultimately you're responsible because you control that site.
Yeah, even though you're not the one actually saying the rude things,
Correct.
you're just co-sharing that, which again you are, I guess, what, party to the offense.
Yeah, and I call it being willfully blind.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Is the White Hatter international? Well, I mean, we broadcast anywhere who will.
You broadcast to a school in Thailand.
Yeah, I mean, we broadcast everywhere. We do focus more in North America because our expertise is more North American policies, procedures, and laws. But we do broadcast anywhere and everywhere.
Yeah, and we have people connecting with us from all over the world asking us questions, right? Which is kind of cool. That's what's cool about the internet, right?
Yeah. Can there be a way to monitor your phone where anything that's harassment or bullying will be reported straight away?
No. I mean, if you see something, screen capture it, right? And if you don't know how to screen capture on your device, just Google, learn how to do that, and do it yourself, right?
Yeah, there is no automated system because when you're trying to automate detecting human behavior, that gets very messy. One, you're going to get false positives, or it might be too sensitive, and it gets, that's a whole can of worms.
Yeah, it's ultimately up to you to screen capture what it is you need to prove the crime, right?
Are feet pictures considered semi-nudes?
God, we get that question all the time.
Technically, yes, because most definitions of semi-nudes is skin showing, but genitalia is hidden. So, I mean, technically, yes, but semi-nudes aren't inherently illegal.
Yeah, so like a feet pics under the criminal code would not be considered illegal. However, if you're posting them in a sexualized way, it makes it illegal for the other person to upload them, right? So that's kind of the difference, right?
Yeah, because generally when it comes to the child pornography laws, it has the actual imagery, but also sexual activity
Correct.
as part of that.
Correct.
So sexual activity fully clothed, yeah.
Correct.
So, yeah, that is a confusing question,
Yeah,
and
it is.
I think a lot of people are a little confused about that.
For sure.
Do you ever do presentations in person? Yeah, we do, but we're finding that doing virtual is far more effective, far more better quality, and far more accessible.
Yeah, I mean, like it or not, during COVID for the past almost 3 years, we've done everything digital for obvious reasons. So beginning in the new school year in 2023-24, we're going to do a hybrid approach where if schools want us to come in, they can do it in person. But the cost of them is going to be dramatically increased because now they have to pay for travel expenses, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And it's much cheaper to do it virtually. And the other cool thing is we can do really cool things virtually that you just can't do in person. But yeah, we do in person
Zoom
stuff.
ins, green screens, effects. We
Yeah.
can broadcast to individual classrooms.
Yeah, for sure.
Students learning from home as well. They
Yeah,
can
for sure.
connect, and parents as well. It's just way more accessible.
Yeah,
So,
for sure.
But we do in person.
And you know what? I just did a quick article on that very issue that, hey, listen, the good peer-reviewed research is coming out is showing that virtual, when done correctly, like what we do, can be just as effective to learning as in-person presentations. The problem is that a lot of in-person presentations are being done by things like Zoom and Teams that just were never designed for that kind of stuff. Like, we have a platform specifically designed to help to encourage learning.
Yeah. Boring Zoom meetings? No. Broadcasting, though, that one's cool.
Yeah.
What if a couple years ago you kind of bullied someone? Can you still be held accountable? Oh, well, it depends on what you actually did. Was the bullying mean and rude behavior? Or was it illegal behavior? And then is where you live, do you have a statute of limitation?
Yeah, in Canada, we have no statutes of limitation. So again, when you think bullying is an overused term, right? And, you know, there's a separate, like, we see some stuff where people saying, well, that's bullying. No, that's an actual assault, right? Like, there's a difference between the two, right? So
I have an iPhone and a friend has an Android. I'm sorry for them. There's our bias. Ideally, what is an end-to-end encryption service that we can use to communicate securely? Probably Signal.
yeah, Signal.
Probably Signal's probably a go-to best private communication app.
Yeah.
Should I report things even though they've deleted the evidence?
Yeah, I mean, depending upon what the incident is, then yes. If it was criminal in nature, I always say report it.
Yeah.
Right?
How do I stop IP tracking? Well, by hiding your IP address, which the go-to method would be using a VPN.
Virtual Privacy Network.
You betcha.
What's the one we recommend?
We use private internet access here in the studio.
Yeah.
Any of the big popular names, PIA, Nord, those ones, those are all fine.
Yeah,
free VPNs, not so much.
Whenever I'm using my Wi-Fi on my device when I'm out, like in a Starbucks, or I'm always turning on my VPN to protect myself, right?
What happens when someone makes your fake account on social media and pretend to be you?
Yeah, it's called impersonation, which is actually illegal under the criminal code in Canada.
Yeah. I mean, you could look at defamatory libel, harassing communications, indecent communications. There's a bunch of different things.
Yeah, and most social media platforms don't allow it either. It's a violation of their terms of service. So if you report it to them, they will usually nuke the account.
Yeah, when you do that, a lot of social networks, when you actually submit that, hey, this account's impersonating me, what they will do is they'll look, okay, when was that account made? And are there photos similar to your photos posted after you? So that's usually how they detect that and then kick those off. And social media is getting pretty good at that.
Yeah, for sure.
Because of AI.
Yeah.
Which is both cool and scary at the same time.
Time.
Like years ago, someone posted an account pretending to be you. It was somewhat difficult to have it removed.
Yeah.
Because there was no automated system there.
Correct.
Yeah. What if you're dating someone that's not from Canada, for example, someone in the US, and they send you a phishing link and send your personal information on different apps and websites? How is that situation handled?
Law enforcement in Canada works very closely with law enforcement in the United States through something that's called the MLAP process, the Mutual Legal Assistant Program, where law enforcement in Canada, if it's legal in here, it's probably legal in the United States. So working together is kind of how they deal with things. So, yeah.
What age does your digital footprint count towards university or adding on to that job opportunities?
Yeah, I would say the past 3 years, like they're going to probably look closely at your grades 10, 11, and 12. And what they're looking for, like teens make mistakes. That's just what it's all about. But what they want to see is that if you'll learn from those mistakes as you get a little older. So, when it comes to university and that kind of stuff, they're probably going to look back maybe 2-3 years max, probably not any deeper than that.
I mean, technically everything you do is a part of your digital footprint, even from the first time you go on the internet. But what actually matters, usually looking at, like
2 to 3 years.
Yeah. Is Tor browser as anonymous as it claims?
No.
It's not.
There was just
Perfect.
there was just a huge article on that I just read in the United States where the FBI is now going after people time and time again who are using the Tor browser.
Yeah, there are ways to track people using Tor, using VPNs, and Tor is all about the nodes. And there have been reports of certain government agencies that have been
3-letter words.
Yeah, or the secret ones we don't know about.
Yeah, exactly.
That are creating nodes and kind of using those to track activity.
There's no doubt Tor browser anonymizes you more, but is it totally 100% of anonymous? The answer is no.
Do VPNs cover my digital footprint? Not completely. No. It's a part of the solution, but it's not complete.
No, for sure. It's a part of the bigger puzzle to help minimize your digital footprint, but no, it doesn't prevent it.
What is the safest social media platform? I mean, none of them are perfectly safe.
I mean, we've always say this. It's not the social media platform. It's not the app. It's how people use the platform and the app that make it good or bad, right?
A principal saying to suspend people for having a fight off school grounds. Okay? Question mark.
Yeah, they could. If there's a nexus back to the school, then yeah, the principal has the right to do something like that for sure. Again, it all comes back to a nexus. A lot of young people believe, and even some adults believe, that if what is happening is outside of school hours or off of school property, then the school has no say in the matter. That's not true. The courts are pretty clear. If there's a nexus back to the school, then the principal has the right to take action.
Is it illegal to post pictures of firearms on social media?
Not illegal. However, if the firearm is a prohibited weapon that you're not allowed to possess it in Canada, and you have the picture of, and it's your gun, you post it, then you could face arrest, right?
There could be questions. If there's certain messages around that, you're saying something about it, then there could be.
Or if you have a picture of a gun, even if it's a replica gun, and you're making a threat with it, well, that's illegal, right? Again, it comes down to, and we've said this a couple of context. Right?
I mean, if it's a picture of a family hunting, and it's like, here's our hunting thing we did. I mean, there's context.
Yeah, context. But if it's a gun or a replica gun and you're using it to threaten somebody, that's illegal, right? So context.
Is it busy working in a small team, considering you seem busy? Well, thank you for noticing.
Yep. We're steady. We are definitely steady. You know, thankfully during the summer months, it kind of quiets down, but that gives us time to at least do some updates on lesson plans, but we're still busy.
We're settled down. I mean, there's projects.
Yeah, for sure.
It's our project time. I mean, it's not like we're a government-funded 24/7 organization.
No.
Kind of cool if we were, though.
Yeah, it would be. So,
but we're not. I mean, we are a small, mighty team.
Yeah, for sure.
How many questions do you get asked when you go live on average?
It depends. Like we did a high school yesterday, and I swear we had over 100 questions, right? Like it depends upon the school.
There was one large high school we did in the U.S., and they had, how many students attend that school? There was thousands.
Thousands, right?
And as a result, I think we had over 500 questions in the queue.
It was unbelievable, right? And what's interesting is we're getting far more questions asked in our virtuals than we ever did when we were doing in person, right? Because in person, students were afraid to ask questions because of peer embarrassment. Well, the way that our questions and answers, it's totally anonymous, so it allows students to ask more questions without fear of peer embarrassment, which is kind of cool. One of the advantages of going virtual.
Why do you only focus on North America? Well, that's just where our experience is, and I mean, we can't do everything.
Well, but
we go everywhere.
Yeah, you present, like I said, you present it in Thailand, right? So if a school or an organization was to connect with us with any other, like we have an organization in South Africa now who's connected with me saying, we might be interested in having you come in and do some school presentations in our country, right? So we'll go wherever somebody wants us to go, because that's what's cool about what we teach. It doesn't recognize, everything to do with digital literacy and internet safety doesn't recognize international boundaries, right? It crosses all boundaries. And what teens are doing here in Canada is basically what teens are doing anywhere else in the world.
Yeah. Are there different rules and laws for preteens? There's no different laws, but how they're handled is differently.
Yeah. Like in Canada, we have the Youth Criminal Justice Act for those who are under the age of 18, which is still a part of the criminal code. It's just how they're dealt with is different. Now, in other countries like the U.S., laws can differ from state to state with respect to ages. But again, speaking in Canada, it's one law that applies right across our country. It's called the criminal code. Once you reach the age of 12, it's how you deal with it is going to be different.
What should I do if someone fabricates evidence of me? I have been predicting that for quite some time now, as people making fake message receipts going, you said this, and you go to an online generator and you just make a fake text chain. Well, I mean, do you have the evidence on your end as well?
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, no, here's my screenshot. Your screenshot's different. So maybe during an investigation, you actually go to the actual server to find the proof.
Yeah, we're actually talking to teachers and principals more about this every so often, that when somebody comes forward to report some kind of cyberbullying, just be very careful, because it could be fakely generated. So make sure you do your research first, your investigation, to make sure that in fact it is legit, not spoofed.
Yeah, although we recommend for students, when you're dealing with something that's problematic, to take a photo of it. When we're talking to people who are responsible for investigating those photos, we do message and talk to them about, actually don't fully rely on those photographs. No. They can begin an investigation and tell you where to go look, but don't take it at face value.
I mean, you use an example where you use a generator that makes text messaging look like it's from a text message, but in fact, you can type anything in there that you want, and it's all fake, but it looks real. I mean, and that's the scary thing with artificial intelligence now, right? When you're looking at deep fakes and stuff. I mean, it's getting so good now that it's almost hard to even believe your eyes of what it is that you're seeing, if it's real or not. That's one of the downsides to AI, right?
Mm-hmm. So, but how are we supposed to have a Star Trek holodeck without it?
I know.
I want a holodeck.
I know.
Can you get in trouble for fighting off of school grounds?
Yes, it's still illegal under the criminal code, so you can be arrested for that. Can you get in trouble under the School Act? Yeah, if there's a nexus back to the school. We've already said that, right? So for sure. How
do you get metadata from a photograph? Ooh, there's a bunch of tools. I mean, there's online tools. I can't remember the name top of my head, but
the EXIF,
it's called the XIF data.
Yeah,
it's EXIF data. So there are tools that can pull that from you, and then obviously we use error level analysis to actually do a photo and image analysis.
Correct.
There's a bunch of strategies and tools used for that.
Yeah.
Can people really see you through your computer camera?
Yeah, it could be. There are programs out there called RATs, right? Remote access Trojans, that once they put them onto your device, it allows them to take full control of your camera. They can turn it on, turn it off. The little LED light that comes on, they can program it so it doesn't come on. Now, it's getting a little harder with some of the browsers that are being used.
It's not like someone's going to randomly do that. Normally, they have to get a program onto your computer to make that work. So
one of the things we recommend is get a little slider, or even better, just get a little Band-Aid, like the ones that when you get a shot, little round ones, and just put them over your webcam, right? Kind of prevent that, just in case.
Running computer antivirus programs also run and help detect that.
Yeah.
So there's strategies you can use.
For sure.
What happens if someone doesn't know you're breaking one of the laws you listed?
Yeah, ignorance of the law is no defense, right? That's an old saying. And that's where education comes into play. And that's one of the reasons why we're educating teens on the issues surrounding legalities of this. But even if you don't know the law, that's not a defense.
Yeah, I mean, law enforcement professionals, typically have the discretion, and it's kind of like intent. A lot of law enforcement professionals, if you have no inherent malice intent, I mean, you might just get a warning kind of thing.
Correct. Yeah.
But if what you're doing, you have the purpose intent of causing harm, well then okay, there's going to be some questions and probably some problems.
Yeah, and it may make a decision to either go criminal justice or restorative justice, right? That can also kind of be a contributing factor to decide which way they're going to go.
I mean, how many laws are there?
Lots.
Lots. Obviously, no one can follow everyone. No. It's usually intent is where the discretion comes into play. I was wondering if you have any jurisdiction over cases you take on, or if you have to leave it totally to the police or other state bodies.
If it's doing anything with regards to criminality, then turning it over to the police to deal with. If it's anything outside of criminality, then a lot of times we can take it on and help to deal with the situation.
Yeah, part of what we do as licensed online investigative company is we can help provide or acquire evidence needed.
Correct.
I mean, we've done that part.
Yeah, there's a number of times where families have gone to the police. Police say they can't help them, not enough evidence, so they come to us. We help to gather the evidence so that they can then take it to the police, so that the police can actually proceed by way of an investigation.
Yeah. Do security apps help protect you like Norton? Oh yeah, totally. Those are the last defense in that you have fallen prey to a scam, you have accidentally installed something on your computer, and hopefully the last defense is that antivirus program that will prevent the virus from running. That's your last defense.
Like we use Bitdefender, right?
Yeah, right? That's our go-to.
Yeah, that's our go-to.
Are there consequences for tech repair people who invade your privacy when they're supposed to just be fixing your device?
The answer is yes, but proving it is going to be difficult, right? So, but this is a big deal. And this is why if you have to take your device in to get repaired, you want to make sure that you're taking it to a reputable organization to do that. But even reputable organizations could have employees that are less than desirable in doing things they shouldn't be doing.
Yeah.
Right? And so there's been a number of cases reported across our country and other countries where people who are working for repairs like this, that's exactly what they do.
Yeah.
So that's one of the reasons why, a lot of them ask for a lot of information, like your passcodes and that kind of stuff. They don't need that.
They might.
Really?
Yeah, especially with like an Apple, with Apple security chip.
Right.
Because without that, your computer's locked out. Or if you're
Right.
setting up a computer like Windows requires you to have a Windows account.
Yeah.
So for some accounts, you do need to provide passwords just because to do the job.
Yeah, there's been a number of cases reported where intimate images that are possessed legally, once you take them into these repair shops, are getting access, they're seeing them, and they're comping them, right?
Yeah.
And then, that's illegal.
There's
right?
nothing stopping you from them actually seeing the material, because if they're working your computer and they go, oh, geez, and they like, oh, geez, kind of close that computer, right? There's nothing stopping them, not expecting that, and they're doing their job, and they come across something. It's a matter of if they see something sensitive and then take that and use it in malicious, malice ways, and yes,
That's illegal. Yeah.
So, I mean, that's why be cautious about what you have saved on any of your devices.
For sure.
Because you never know, because it's not like if it's broken, you can take it to a repair shop and pre-delete things.
Right.
Because it's broken.
Yeah, it's broken. Yeah.
You can't delete the stuff.
Good point.
So, you just be cautious of what you have saved.
Yeah.
Are face scan logins okay? Oh yeah, totally. I mean, if you're a 00 secret agent, maybe not. But for any average, decent, normal, typical person, yeah, you're fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like biometrics, right? Like face scans, thumbprint scans,
Yeah.
stuff like that. Your mom, remember this story? I was sleeping in my sleepy chair, as I like to call it. She needed to get in my phone, and she didn't have my password, so she actually lifted my thumb, and she took my thumbprint to get into the phone, right? So, I mean, but other than that, I mean, any kind of biometrics for security are actually kind of a good thing, right?
Yeah.
Usually I combine, like I got facial ID, but I can combine facial ID with actually a password as well, so that if my phone is down for a length of time, the face ID doesn't work. You still have to plug in a specific code.
Yeah.
Right. So.
And those are our questions from January. There was a lot of questions last month.
A lot of good questions, right?
They were.
Yeah.
So thank you everyone for tuning in, and check out next month for unanswered questions we just don't get time to answer. Thank you all so much. Stay safe and have a great time online.
See you, everybody.
Bye.